The X, porque no es dos or das.
Yeah.
X.
Inclusive. Inclusivity.
Yes, we're on our way to finding the right way to talk about people that doesn't hurt people.
Yes.
So that's why we use X instead of grammar female or male. Or, yeah, there's way more than one, two.
For sure.
For sure. Anyways, bienvenidex.
Bienvenidex.
Todos. Oh my gosh. Okay, so madre, right?
So good. I cried, I laughed, I called my own mother.
You did?
Yes.
What'd she say?
It was like, why are you calling me? It's 3 a.m. I'm joking.
You are joking.
No, I sent her a text being like, I love you.
Oh my gosh. Lucky her. I don't know. Every time I listen to Madre, I tap into this part that reminds me of like the many times my own mom would go back to Mexico to take care of her family. Like, it's just such a real thing. You just fly and you go and you spend this time doing caretaking work, and it's hard. And it's really awesome that this play exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Totes. So, you know, this week we got the Merendiando going.
Yes. And we have an amazing, beautiful, gorgeous guest.
Talented, boss-ass, bitch guest. Can't even wait to speak with them. They are a multidisciplinary performance artist based in Toronto, a boss bitch, like I said, and our friend.
Jessica Esmeralda Cepeda, also known as
Sinvergüenzilla. Yes. So why did we invite her? Because Jessica is an amazing artist, and I've had so many transformative conversations with Jess about resilience as an artist, about trauma, about motherhood, about family and care. It's like they have so many amazing synthesized thoughts about this. A lot of them come from their own relationship with the world and their family, and I just thought they would be the perfect guest to invite. So I'm really excited for them to just like sprinkle some wisdom on all of us.
Also, because we had such a beautiful guest, we were like, we need to bring the best snack.
Best snack.
Merendiando. So we took it to the professionals.
Uh-huh.
And we got some food from La Bella Managua.
Nicaraguan food at the corner of Ossington and Bloor.
We got tres leches. We also had a veggie option and a meat option.
Oh my god, there's so much good food there, and it's actually really well priced, and the portions are big. Mm-hmm. It's like, you should go there if you want good food, basically. La Bella Managua.
La Bella Managua.
It's all linked below in the text of this podcast, so don't you worry, we're hooking you up. And yeah, I guess...
So now we're ready. We hope you have your snack with you, a little meriendita.
And water.
And water, always.
Water is life. Hydrate, water is life.
And just sit back, relax, and listen to this amazing episode of
Merendiando.
Hola!
Hola!
We're back for another Merendiando.
Merendiando!
After listening to that amazing play, Madre. Oh, so good.
Yeah,
so many feelings. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot. But I'm really excited because today we are here talking with a very special person in my life.
And in my life.
No.
Yeah.
Stop.
They are an artist, a human being, a comrade in arms, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Why don't you go on ahead, blue person?
Hello, my name is Jessica Esmeralda Cepeda, or also known as Sinvergüenzilla, or you can call me Sin for short.
Oh, shit.
Just kidding.
You're not kidding.
No.
They're not kidding. What pronouns do you prefer?
Oh, man. I like they, I like she, I use he or king or ma'am or sir or it. No, I don't use it.
No, it is an evil clown. We don't want that.
No.
It is an evil clown. You are not that.
Well, I could be. No, maybe to some I am, but.
Sinvergüenzilla.
Hi.
Sin.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you to share with us just like a short bio. What would you say about your work? What do you want people to know about you?
I am a performance artist based in Toronto.
True.
Yeah, with a diaspora connection to El Salvador. So yeah, I mean, I say performance artist or storyteller or shapeshifter or or mystic. I don't know, anything that's not actor, because I think that's a really basic vocabulary that theater school like presses on one person, on someone who looks like me. So yeah, I don't know. That's why I also resonate with performance artists, because there's something about live performance and immediacy that that does resonate with me. If you throw, you know, a saxophone at my face, I can be like, yeah, let's play, let's do something and perform. And yeah, with like less preparation, kind of like less preparation, more presence, as you
I
taught
like
me.
that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm a performance artist. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who I am. Yeah.
Less preparation, more presence. That is a direct quote from Adrienne Marie Brown, who wrote some sick books everybody should read.
Yep.
One of them is called Emergent Strategy, and the other one's called Pleasure Activism.
Eso.
My bros, everybody read it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's that good.
Yeah, so it's a little bit me. About
Cool.
me.
All right. So next question that we have for you is, do you want to tell us a bit about your immigration story, your diaspora story?
Yeah, because I'm not an immigrant, but I am a settler in that sense. However, my parents are both from El Salvador and came under really not easy terms, but they're here and are doing the most with what they've gotten. But my story is, you know, not a unique one. It's very similar to a lot of people that have been exposed to trauma and mental health, and I'm just another micro of a macro problem. So that's what I would say is a lot of like where I've come from. You know, mental health is big, and immigration is big, and
Are they linked for you?
I was just gonna say, and they're 100% linked. For me, they are. Yeah. You know.
In what way, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No. Well, I mean, in terms of immigration, when there's a difference between people leaving out of desire for a better opportunity, and then there's a difference when, you know, there's violence against your body, your person, and you are kind of forced to leave.
Yeah.
As is the situation with my dad, and more specifically, you know, there was a civil war happening at the time in El Salvador, and he was really young, and just, you know, he was in university, and he was really passionate, so much so that, you know, the military heard and like kidnapped him and like a few of his friends and like beat the shit out of him. Like he was like held captive for like a little bit there, and he was like in university, so pretty young, pretty much a kid still. So yeah, anyways, he had to leave. He left El Salvador twice, actually, because once he was I'm trying to like condense the story, but like
He
he left.
These stories are always so
They're
huge.
so long, so it's like, long story short, like he left and actually you can, if you want the story, it is published by Dani Salco, who is an artist.
Oh, yes,
at
Dani Salco.
Créditos, who actually interviewed my dad. So you can find that actually online. There's like an English version, and if you want the Spanish text, come find me. And I actually rolled around with copies of my dad's story, and I just like hand them out. I can give you I'm gonna give you one because I have them downstairs. It's diaspora. It's such a loaded question, like, and and I haven't even answered what like the connection to PTSD or like mental health and whatever.
There's no real answer. Like,
I
who the
know,
fuck
it's such a
knows?
broad one, but I'll just, to like sum up, basically just, like there's lots of PTSD involved, I think, in that story. With both my parents and my mom, like both my mom and dad. My mom has her own like epic story as well. It's like super heartbreaking and super filled with trauma and, you know, and abuse and all that. So so there's reasons why they had to leave their home, because they're forced out. It's either stay and succumb to the abuse, or run and leave, because for life to live. So, and they did. So, and in that turmoil, they collected a lot of like trauma and, you know, other next level racism, you know, like immigration and being in a new land that's denying the atrocities that are happening in your war, and you kind of dealing and not having the vocabulary of this new land, but also don't have the healing from your past land either.
Yeah.
So that's how I find the two connected. Are connected for me, at least.
Totally.
And how does this like influence your art or the way you create everything?
Can I just ask one follow-up question? So where were you born?
I was born on Turtle Island, so in Toronto.
In Toronto. Cool.
Yeah.
Go for it, Monica.
So then, again, how's all these stories influence your own story and how you create?
It almost burdens me because I, as I'm sure you've seen, like there's this thing of this desire of telling the story, but also wanting to tell your own story, not tell your own story, sorry, live your own life, actually, right, as an artist.
Yeah.
So there was this thing when I was younger, I felt like because I was in search of something of the past, that I wanted to tell my parents' story, but it's actually not, I've learned now, it's actually not my story. Because that's how you end like the cycle of abuse, right?
Oh.
It's actually being like, okay, I see where my anxieties come from, and are those actually mine? So I'm in that. So when I was younger growing up, I was like in theater school, like it really messed with me because I was just like, what is my voice? You know, I had teachers being like, speak more Spanish, who did not speak Spanish. And I was like, so how, like when I think about it, I'm like, how were you going to really direct me? So they had no idea. Anyways, but yeah, so it was really conflicting and confusing. But now where I'm at, I feel 100% more confident in terms of like telling my own story, but being inspired by the previous experiences and stories before me. But that doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be verbatim what happened, right? That's where like fantasy and like sci-fi and like horror like is like my jam, and that stuff is like how I kind of help kind of segue the trauma or like heavier stories, but also live in a dreamland and fantasy, and that doesn't burden me and like tie me down of like trying to relive and retell the past the way it's supposed to be told. I can tell the story however I want to tell the story.
Totally.
Does that answer your question?
No,
Yeah.
yes, that was a beautiful.
It was
Yeah.
a sick answer. It was ill. Mentally ill. Okay, we're not gonna like make that joke again. That joke is done now. Moving on. So, Jess, Sinvergüenzilla. How do you want me to name you?
You can call me Jessica.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jessica.
Yeah. Even though I'm blue right now.
Jessica's fully blue right now.
Yeah, they don't know that. And I'm in a purple wig, but anyway.
With rhinestones all over Jessica's
We will
face.
post a picture so you
Can't wait.
you imagine it.
Why are you like this right now?
I was participating in a photo shoot for a 10 by 10. And I was photographed by Vero Diaz. Vero
I
Diaz.
love Vero.
Who is also my comrade, who is also like a fairy femme, a unicorn femme in my life. Yeah, so and I'm a crazy person as well, so I too am crazy. And I say it loudly and proudly. Yeah, and so I just was like, I have all these ideas for what I want to do for my photo shoot. And I was like, asking her to like stop me, but she was like, keep going. And so she really like let me be boundless in that sense. So I'm very lucky. I was very lucky.
Yeah. Vero Diaz has a like photography healing practice and company and
Phoenix
like
Rising Studio.
service called Phoenix Rising Studios, and you should totally check them out because it's like a blend between photography and indigenous land-based healing and ceremony. It's like really unique. It's very cool. Okay, so Jess, that sounds really cool. That's why you're blue.
That is why I...
Princess Nokia moment. So, how do you mother yourself, Jess?
Oh man, how do I? You know what? It was something that I was bullied for a lot growing up, but now fully own it because I'm a bad bitch now, and not a child anymore. I'm fully woman, fully person, fully being, and I basically talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot. Like and it's, when you're a kid, maybe different now, but not when I was growing up. It was like very like, are you talking to yourself? And it was just a coping mechanism. But now, because there are other times where I hear very negative impulses or like, oh, you're dumb. And it's like, nope. I try to like mother myself by saying, nope, we don't talk to ourselves like that anymore. So I just realized in my journey that I have a habit of really like knocking myself down. So I'm in that mother where I'm like, nope, I'm mom now. And regardless of whatever that relationship is from the past, like I'm a healthy mom to myself. And that it doesn't need to be biological or anything. It can just be like, you are your mother now, and you can talk to yourself how you want to be talked to, and you can treat yourself the way you want to be treated. So if that means, you know, like you make meals for yourself when I have access to a kitchen, but like if you can cook for yourself, and if you're late to something because you were cooking for yourself, so be it. They'll bring it on. Like mom, who is me, will handle the situation. If you are, you know, like if someone is being really disrespectful, like you can like protect yourself and be like, nope, and I'm not going to get mad unnecessarily because I'm the mom now, and we don't need to waste that energy there anymore. So I really try to encourage talking to myself in a healthy, like beautiful way. Yeah, and if I do get super toxic with myself, to just be like, okay, like really channel that energy. I'll get like a pen and paper and write like, this is a toxic breakdown. Write it out and go and fully go there then.
Whoa.
So I do it's like allowing the child to have the temper tantrum, and you have to like fully commit then. Like no holding back, but let it out and then get rid of it. Whether you burn that paper or whatever, or never read it again, but like it's out. Action, you've, you know, connected the intention. Like this is not to hurt anyone. It's literally just to let it out. So yeah, those are just like a few things.
How did you learn those tactics?
You know, like books, it's the I read a book actually the first time I was technically kicked out of my house. I don't like to say that anymore, but I try to like it was a thing at the time. I was reading Women Who Run with Wolves.
People love that book. I haven't read it yet.
What?
I feel like I don't need to. I'm like a boss ass bitch.
I haven't read it because I don't read.
I'm joking. I'm a firm. Honestly, I may be dyslexic. I may not be. Can't be sure. I don't go to a doctor to figure it out. Probably should, but I won't. Anyways, I think it's really cool to know the power of like picking up a book and starting at any page. You know, and just starting wherever. Whereas I feel like this book really facilitates for that. So it's like archetypes of the femme body, and like there's a lot of lessons and stories and mythologies from across the world that this like the writer Clarissa Pinkola, I think, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but yeah, it's a really beautiful book, and it really, like, that one took me months to read because it's pretty dense. But the stories are worth it. Like they're really transcending, like help one to transcend and like think next level as well, especially if you are a femme identifying person. So just because there's been such a war against that archetype.
Totally.
So, and it's like, well, there's a lot of mythology out there that actually talks about them in many ways, not just this one way that's like clean, crisp, dainty, or whatever. Virginal. It's like, actually, they're fierce as fuck. Actually, they're vengeful. Actually, they're broken. Actually, they're ancient. Actually, they're next level. Like, you know, they're violent too, right? And there's reasons. So I, like, that one was kind of like my descent into like how to really heal, because I just, at that time in my life, it was like 2014, I think, that I was just like, wow, like this is, and why I love horror movies, this is a demon that I must learn how to combat. And so I need to prep for that. So yeah, I don't know. And Instagram, like there's so many, like,
Instagram's awesome.
It's great. Like you always show me stuff that I'm like, wow.
It's because I'm obsessed with like self-help Instagram life. For me, it's not self-help. It's more like resources. Like I have access to all these resources that people are giving me through Instagram and through Facebook. Like I think maybe we were talking about this the other day, but like Facebook for me has become literally a place where I can get culturally specific resources. Yes. Like I get like daily language posts from all these different indigenous languages I'm trying to get familiar with on Facebook. I get like news from people that I like and I trust, and like, yeah, anyway, Instagram's good. Instagram's good. Definitely. And it's pretty.
It is, yeah. It's just like connecting something like visual, which I, as you can tell, I'm a very visual being, like person. I learned that way a lot. And so it just gives a really, just a way in.
Yeah. Dope.
I know.
I want to read now. I want to read so much.
I
Yeah.
have the book, so
Or I just want to talk to you more, so I don't need to read.
That's true.
I just learned through you.
You definitely should talk to Jess more.
I talk to Jess.
Yeah, maybe
I
have
should
him,
talk more.
a
Yes,
little more.
I will.
But I also am kind of in this level of now, like, letting more people in where I wasn't before.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it affected a lot of things, like friendships and my art as well. So there's something about isolation and that's real. So
It's so real.
right,
We all deal with it.
we all do.
I'm kind of like dealing with it right now. Lol. Okay. Next question.
Yeah.
Jess, do you want to be a mother one day? Is that something in your brain?
I totally am a mother already.
Ooh,
I
talk about
have a little conejito muy lindo, mi boncito, míralo, he's so cute. So I am a mother, actually. Interestingly enough, when I was out of my place in 2014 and finding a new home, I actually stumbled upon my son, which is a rabbit, named Buns, and I was like squatting in this couple's apartment that eventually they're splitting up, and so I had always taken care of rabbits in the past. And my last rabbit, actually, oh my God, I'm confessing. Okay, so my last rabbit before that, like years ago, I had to let go because he was sick and I couldn't afford to I was still a kid as well. So I didn't have a job or anything. So I couldn't really invest. It was irresponsible, full on. I couldn't invest in like the maintenance of his well-being. So he got sick and was dying and I had to let him go. So I let him go in the wilderness. And in that moment, I was like, I watched him go and I promised myself, you will never have another rabbit again because you are completely irresponsible. And so I remember telling myself that, and years later I found myself in the situation where I had to be squatting in this like lesbian couple's home or whatever that was like splitting up, and then I took on the lease and they left, and one of the girls was like, this was one of my best friends at the time, and she was just like, I have this rabbit. And I was like, so what are you gonna do? You're moving to Alberta. And she was just like, well, I was thinking maybe like either take him with me. I could hear hesitation, and I was like, leave him here with me. I can take him. And I just felt like it was like the universe being like, you're ready now. Like you have a home now. That was years ago. You let go of that rabbit. Here's this rabbit that needs a home just like you. And we like found each other, and he found his way into my life and he and mine. So I feel like I took him on. I am the mom now. I'm the mom now.
I took on mom.
Yeah, so I just feel like I am a mom in that sense. I don't know. I don't know if biologically I'm going to, like push one out.
Yeah.
I don't, but in that sense, probably not. Most likely not. Only because I feel like with the way life is going in my life, I hold the responsibility of mother probably too heavy.
It's no joke.
It's serious. It's a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, well, if you're not really preparing for it now, when the hell are you going to prepare for it?
I feel like you are preparing for you are mom. Like you just said, like, I don't know.
Right. But a rabbit is a different responsibility than a human.
Yes.
It's like level 1.
Okay.
Maybe 1A. Like,
Okay.
And I feel also like, as we were mentioning, how trauma is something that you inherit. I'm super aware of that when I'm thinking if I want to have a child or not, being like, I have all these things in my mind already that I don't know who put there. It's been given to me.
Yeah.
And I don't want, sometimes thinking like, I don't want my child to have stuff that I haven't even been able to resolve.
There's a book I'm reading right now called It Didn't Start With You by Mark
W.
Mark W. You know what?
We'll look for it.
Yeah, but the title for sure is, I'm better with titles than authors, clearly. It Didn't Start With You, and it's discussing this thing that you're talking about, which we all know now. It's intergenerational trauma, which is 100% a real thing. They back it up with facts and science and like a lot of research there. And as I'm reading it, I too am coming to this conclusion as well of like, I have all this baggage that yes, you can heal in this lifetime is very true, but there's also a lot of it that I cannot figure out because it has a lot to do with my parents actually figuring it out as well. And so it's not all on me to figure out either. So it's like, how much do I really want to pass on biologically? I think actually just being in the present as I am, I can do way more good than I can actually being an actual mother in that sense. I keep saying biological sense. Yeah. So, because it's real. You're 100% right. You can totally pass on stuff that you don't even know you're passing on. It's in our DNA.
Bro, like, I'm surprised I was even born.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like, I'm surprised.
Like, how
constantly every day.
But on the flip side of that, I just also want to share, as much as generational trauma is passed down, generational wisdom is just as equally important. And I think that's something that now you're starting to hear pop up more in conversations on Instagram, whatever, and self-care and healing, and especially to, you know, like, I feel like Indigenous youth like need to hear that more so, if anything, just because it's as we're like, as we now know, as people that have been wronged so heavily, but also have such incredible history and knowledge, and that's the kind of like thing to remember, when no matter like how much trauma or abuse or whatever you've come from, to also be able to acknowledge and see like there's a lot of magic there as well, that maybe you haven't had your elders, like I never had a grandmother really ever around, but that I think it's beautiful to know that I am so connected to my diaspora, and that it manages to fly here to me somehow. And that there is a wisdom there.
I think it's in your body. I think it's in, like, because you're made of, no one is new here, you know, like no one's new here, and all your blood and your bones, and like that's like, apparently your little fetus baby egg, your egg was developed in your grandmother's womb when she was like creating your mother's body.
100%.
Like everyone's born with all the eggs they already need in their entire life. So like you and your grandma are like high-fiving OG, like way back in the time. And the thing that fucks me up, and I still don't know the answer to, is I have 2 grandmothers. So where was I?
Well, that's because it is connected. This book talks about that too. So it is, you were also connected with your dad in that sense, because it's like in his sperm. I don't know. I'm like still in that chapter, but it is like there is a connection to your other grandmother as well, and it is through like, if you know you have a mother and father that gave birth to you, then, and yes, there is. So
then
that
they both have an egg, and then they both like, then it's just me.
Exactly. So you do have, and that's what people forget. It's like, yes, the trauma, yes, it's there, but also like, if you can find their gold, like if you can find their like whatever, anything positive, it could be like, wow, the beauty in my hands is that of my grandmother's, because I never met her, but my dad always says I have her hands. Anyways, so I'm like, great, like I didn't know her, but like that's an element that like I'll do my nails in her honor, right? Like that's my connection to her. Great. I don't know, but I'm just gonna take their word for it, and I'm gonna believe that somewhere in that there's like beauty, because that's all I have really to go by. So
you're right, there is.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some qualities you admire in a daughter?
Aww.
In a buncito. In a little buns conejo. Why is he nice?
Oh my god. The curiosity. Okay, so Buns does this thing, my rabbit, where he's a little troublemaker. I love him. Yeah. He's a big time trickster energy, which is kind of like very humbling actually. So those, and I guess I would really appreciate that actually in any child. It's really about, you know, like kind of don't take yourself too seriously. Like stay curious, and you might like flop on your butt, and like, you know, have to like feel like a ways. Your ego might be like, I feel stupid for trying, but that's okay. You just like, you know, get the dirt off your shoulder and try again, and make a fool of yourself again and again and again. So and that's like me to the core. Like I will never probably get this life right, but I don't care.
What do you mean?
I know. I'm like, I kind of don't care. I kind of never want to get it right, because like I have all these wicked ass experiences that when I die, I probably won't ever have to come back. You know, like I'm like Frida Kahlo in that sense. Like I don't. Yeah, like this is the one time I'm in, and that's it.
You think Frida Kahlo's not coming back?
She's probably present in all of us.
Yeah, she like spread herself out.
Yeah, like I think they're all like that's.
She just high-fived us in the sky.
She's like, they got it, nailed it.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I feel like we're all, like our spirits split probably, you know, like I don't know if I believe in reincarnation. I actually have no idea what I believe in. So all I can really go by is the elements in front of us, and like the land and the people and the angels in front of me. So yeah.
Cool. So Jess, how does your community care for you, and how do you care for your community?
They care for me a lot. I always learn this. I have more friends and allies and comrades than I let myself believe. So they are there for me, you know, with shelter, food. They're there, you know, when they're creating art and creating art consistently. You know, they're there when I don't know. They're everywhere. They're just.
How do they care for you?
How do they care for me? I think you give when you just create your own art, like really to the best of your ability with what you've got. People always invite me, which is really beautiful. So, because I am an artist, but I also know that I can be a bit like hard to work with, like 1000% hard to work with. And I know there's a variety of reasons for that. But that's my journey as well. But I feel really cared for when people don't let mental health, you know, give me a bad reputation, right? Or are like vouching for me. I know there are people vouching for me out there that are like, you know, if someone is gossiping or is throwing dirt or doesn't maybe know me and is speaking ill on my name, I know that there are people out there that are like, actually, you don't know the full story. And that's huge because I think that's, you know, or people giving me references. Like there are times where like I'll be at home, like there have been times in the past where I'll be at home alone, like thinking like, oh God, like I'm not an artist. And then there's an email of like someone like, oh, so-and-so Camila referenced you. Like I'm so-and-so, do you want to work on this project? And I'm like, that's the community. And that's beautiful because I didn't even, you know, I wasn't per se auditioning or, you know, mingling or like putting myself out there. I haven't performed in like a year or whatever, and people are still like knocking on my door. That's how I feel super cared for. Super cared for.
That's true.
Right? So, and to pass that along, right? To be like, and I think that's like what I try to do as well. It's like, okay, so if I have, you know, the attention on me, there's a moment where, you know, you can't always say yes to all these projects.
Yeah.
So then there's those moments like, okay, well, I'm actually full. Like I'm very plentiful with opportunities. I'm going to start passing the ball now and being like, you know what? I think so-and-so needs a shot now. I think so-and-so needs to like try or like a chance or like needs to be seen. So yeah, that's, I think how I try to reference people as well. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. So this play, Maree, is like so complex, but like two huge themes of it are obviously mothers and like the relationship of mother-daughter and like how that can be helpful and difficult, and also like mental health, like deteriorating mental health and like kind of a power play. So I'm wondering, Jess, if you could tell us about a time that you were resilient with mothers and mental health, like whatever story comes to mind, but like a time that you found some kind of resilience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it had to do again with art. There was a time, so after 2014, like when I found a home that I claimed as my own. In other words, I was paying for rent at a place.
But like, and it was yours, and you could like lock the door. And
I could lock the door. Yeah, exactly. Like I was safe, whatever. I think there was a moment where I started creating art, and I was trying to figure out like, what do I want to say? So I started going to these like, actually this like poetry kind of like spoken word thing. It was a blank canvas. At the time, they were holding these events called Dead Poet. So, and I think they still do actually. And so I started asking myself, like, I don't know how to heal this relationship with my mother. I don't want to be mad at her anymore, but I also am mad at her. And mad at like just the way the dice was rolled for me. So then I was like, why don't you start like publicly, like just denouncing that and using art in that sense in your favor. So I feel like that's helped me with my resilience in terms of like making the situation that was like, you know, just not the best for me and trying to say like, okay, so how do I create? How do I make how do I phoenix, right, with what I've got and like rise up from the ashes. So I think and it worked. Like there was like a year where I was just like, you know, always going and again just putting myself out there in a way that I thought was cool and wasn't necessarily mainstream or popular or like
What was it?
I mean, like it was like, you know, playing with face paint and like, you know, like taking photos of myself and playing with personas and doing workshops with Aluna and like, you know, going to Dead Poet and saying and also maybe telling myself a new narrative. So I was like, instead of this like, like my relationship with my mom is so hard, struggle. And not to say that that's not okay. It's totally, obviously, it's necessary to go there. But I was just like, I need a new era. So then I started like really like hoping things would get better, and really started talking about that relationship openly, and in a more positive light through my art and with a public setting. And it inspired like a few artists. Like I remember there were a few younger artists that were like, I never knew I could talk about my mom and mental health before.
It's so taboo.
It is so taboo, but not actually anymore. Because now
Hopefully.
you're seeing this like uprise of like movies like I, Tonya come out, or like Russian Doll, or like
Next to Normal. That's a musical that is
Next to Normal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you're starting to see these like cool, and then that these strained mother-daughter relationships create badasses. Actually, these like complex, you know, people that are, you know, not these soft, pathetic. Not to say women are pathetic, but like these soft, vulnerable women. That's okay if you're vulnerable, but also like there are these like rough, like edgy women out there that you know, deserve just as much of a voice. So yeah, we're out there and we're bad as shit.
So resilient and so strong. Like,
And
My mom was diagnosed with like severely depressed because also she has it was like a mental health issue that it started with a little tumor in her brain. So then that developed like her being like extremely depressed and suicidal and all that stuff. And it was like from one week to another, my mother wasn't there. And that and for me it was like, oh my God, how do I deal with this? And then I realized I was like, my show was stuck. And it sounds horrible, but I was like, my show wasn't moving. And then I was like, this is the narrative, because it actually made me confront my relationship with my mother.
always.
Like, it wasn't like, yes, it was, now things are better, but it was like, at that moment I was like, I haven't talked to my mom in almost a year. Like, I've talked to her, I messaged her, yes, but I haven't seen them in like a year and a half. So that, that situation actually opened a whole way of communicating and a whole thing of like, where are we standing in each other's lives and how do we treat each other?
100%.
So that for me was like, because we had mental health issues in our family, but it wasn't like, we ignore it as usually families does. But when it got to the point that it was like, your mom needs to be committed to a clinic right now, that's where all the family was like, we haven't talked to each other in months.
Yeah.
How are we as a family? Because that also like had to do a lot with how she was being diagnosed, because it was a lot of stuff were hitting her even harder.
Yes.
So that was like a lot of stuff. It was like, it's still happening. So it's like, it's weird and it's hard, but it's such an opportunity to see where we stand as a family and as people, how we are in each other's lives. But yeah. And to create forever as artists. Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's kind of the messed up but like amazing part of it too. I always joke about this. I'm like, when it's really hard, I'm like, okay, I'm in it. But I know in the future, this is going to be some great material. Yes. This is going to be such blessings. I just don't see it right now. But like in the future, it's going to be really, really good.
And as an artist, it makes you push.
100%.
To the places that you're like, I don't want to go there. And then we sing, let's get triggered tonight. Let's get triggered tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah. Art saves lives.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. I used to be like, no, it doesn't, but that's because I was sad and bitter. But then I'm not like, but then you phoenix, and then you're just like, oh right, that's also a part of the journey. God damn it, you know, like that's and I feel like that's 100% what it is to be resilient, is to just be again like, oh, I just tripped and I scraped my knee and I'm gonna clean it, and ow, it burns, and put a Band-Aid, ow, and learn how to walk again.
Yeah. And then it actually makes you realize that's why did you fail in the first time? Like, it's like, even like, why were you there? I don't know.
Yeah, because like there's a deep reflection. Anyways, I feel like that's art is like was like a way to like help me be resilient to what was happening and dealing with other people's traumas and mental health and my mom's sanity and like well-being.
But it's like Madre itself. Like the show became from like what Bea experienced with her own mother, and it's
real,
such a beautiful show that from all of us is like it made us talk.
100%. It made us talk.
Like it made us like I can be like, oh, that I can feel that because my mom maybe wasn't like that, but she also had so mental health. But even like in the future, like the way in the play is like. Yeah. Her mom got sick. She's not there. Like as people who we tend to move around in the world.
Yeah, it's so real.
It's real, and also it's like this thing of like your mother or the person who cared for you is gonna get old to the point that you need to take care of her.
Oh my God.
And it's a reality that's so horrifying.
My family talks about this all the time. Well, not talks about it, but it's like a real stress on my family because I was talking to even my friend today and she's like, why in this country do people just put their old people away?
Whoa,
like
my
I
God.
can't. She like she's an artist. She's a poet, my friend. And a beautiful poet named Mona. I'm going to link her. She's an incredible Sudanese Egyptian poet. Awesome. But she's like, like I'm making the decision to get a degree in interior design, and she's going to be amazing. And like, because she looked at the salary of the jobs in interior design, she's like, I can support myself and my mom. And that's it. There's no joke about that. Like, that's what I'm doing, even though like, and art is important to me. It's like, you got to make those choices sometimes.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about this a lot. I'm like, and I think that's also, again, going back to that question of like, do I see myself being a mother? Well, yeah, eventually those roles will be reversed and you will have to mother your mother.
Your mother, yeah.
Because she will not be, it's like the curious case of Benjamin Button. You know? we age like backwards or whatever, but there is that like the deterioration of the mind that is like, you know, you will have to be repeating things and you have to have patience and you have to, you know, wipe someone's bottom and you have to be there for the ugly parts or clean blood or vomit or whatever. And that's very, the quote unquote grotesque, but it's actually incredibly human.
Okay, so we got our last wrap-up questions here. Last 3 questions.
So now that we put our hearts out there,
Do it.
tell us something, un dicho, which is like a saying?
Yeah, phrase.
A quote that you often use. Or that is like, it's always been inspiring.
Oh my God. I don't know if it's inspiring, but I always laugh. I'm always like, ponete buso, man. Like, that's like what my parents would always say.
Can you say it a bit louder?
Ponete buso, which is kind of like, or it's like kind of like, I'd laugh if I was saying it wrong, because honestly, that's actually my life.
Ponerte buzo?
But like, yeah, or like ponete las pilas. Isn't
Oh, yeah, like get ready.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
be
you
ready.
gotta just be on it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, ponete las pilas is actually like a bigger one, I would say, then.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so those two are like, yeah, that's like kind of slangy, I guess. But
Vamos a ponernos las pilas y hacerlo. Like,
yeah. Oh, like, it would just be like, hurry up, Jess, really. Like, but I just liked, I don't know, my parent, like, I feel like all again, like all of Central and South America, like they all have their own dialects and like slangs and right. So, but like ponete las pilas, and my dad would just be like snapping his like fingers together. Yeah. So I don't know. That's like, I don't know if it's inspiring, but it's always one that
Just a
made me
favorite.
laugh.
It is. It's telling you, hey, life is now. Make it happen.
Yeah.
It's your moment.
go.
Yeah, it's your yeah.
And
It
talking
is.
about life is now, make it happen. Who's your art or performer or theater crush at the time?
Oh, of the oh damn. I
Right
wanna say
now.
something. Right now, who's my theater crush? Oh my God, duh, Augusto Bitter, duh,
Oh.
derp, or I should say Yolanda Bonilla. I should just say, yeah, that's the. I don't care. I'm breaking all the rules here. I have 2, I have 3, maybe 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone in this room, literally.
Aw.
Yeah, and like everyone in this room, everyone in the community, man. Like there are artists like again, Dainty Smith isn't it? Imagine Quest, like she like burlesque performer. I'm breaking all the rules. I'm just dropping all these
everywhere.
names. They're all like burlesque performers or like next level, like Sebastian Marciali,
El
like
Toro.
El Toro, who I went to
Garrido.
theater school with. Like, there's just so many people in the game right now that I'm just like, yes, I'm watching you. Yes, I'm watching you. Who cares about what Johnny Depp is doing? Who cares about whatever
They're so
doing?
basic.
They're so basic.
I
'cause
forgot who Johnny Depp was.
yeah,
I was like,
I
who's
just
Johnny
brought him.
Depp?
Who cares what Tim Burton's doing or whatever? And like, I'll put out my favorite people because like, who cares what Darren Aronofsky's doing? Because like, honestly, the people that I'm like sitting around with right now are the artists that I'm like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, tell me again, please, because I'm gonna need to remind myself later.
Cool. And then what is your favorite snack? Or in Spanish,
Merienda. What is your meriendita snack?
My
favorite
snack
one?
is definitely not a snack because I'm Canadian and Salvadorian. I don't really know what that means, but like I like there is no snack in my life. I only eat meals. I only eat meals. I don't know what the snacking business of North American bullshit is. I have meals. Okay, I have a whole pizza to myself, or I have like meals, and I'll have maybe several meals.
But
a
like
day.
merienda, let's say, is like, for me, it's like I would be like a concha with chocolate. So it's like a little piece of bread that is really like Mexican-y.
Nice.
So do you have like something that you're like?
Casamiento, man. Like casamiento is like, you don't know what casamiento
What is casamiento?
Casamiento, it's like the perfect marriage of like the two perfect things, which is rice and beans.
Oh.
Which is actually kind of what we had.
Yes.
We
didn't even talk about the
talk
food
about
we ate.
Oh yes, let's talk about the food.
We
So
love food.
we had some food from La Bella Managua. So it's food de Nicaragua. How do you say Nicaraguan food?
Just comida nica.
Comida nica.
Then, yeah.
We had plantain with casamiento, que is rice and beans.
Queso fresco. Coleslaw, carne asada.
Oh, salad. We just,
It was
Casamiento.
blessed.
Or like pupusas,
Oh,
like classic. That's
mm.
again, see, I'm like,
One time I went to your house for pupusas and I still think about how they tasted.
LOL, I made you eat meat. It was
Shut up.
I was actually like for a hot second forgot that you're a vegetarian because you just were like eating them already, and I was
made
just
a
like,
choice.
We all let it be known. For my mom.
I made a choice.
And it was awesome. But yeah, pupusas again. See, like that's not a snack because it's like a full on meal.
It
like,
is.
So there you go. That's it. Casamiento con pupusas or something. Yeah.
I'm hungrier
I'm
now.
already hungry again.
Take 12. Great. See, we have snacks. Snacks are overrated.
Yeah,
Meals.
totally.
I love snacks. Okay, well now we know
Defensive
Jess doesn't like snacks. I love snacks.
But
Camila, it's as long as you give them food,
Yeah,
they're
if it's
okay.
a pupusa, I'm eating it. I don't really. I should care about what's in it because I'm a vegetarian, but also it's a pupusa, so I'm here for it.
Exactly. I can't be. Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Okay. Thanks so much for talking with us, Jess.
Thank you for having me. I love the podcast. Honestly, this is my favorite podcast right now. So
Shut
let it
up.
be known. No, you should.
Radio Aluna Teatro is produced by Aluna Theatre with the support from the Metcalf Foundation, the Laidlaw Foundation, the City of Toronto,
the Canada Council for the Arts, the Ontario Arts Council, the Toronto Arts Council, and Playwrights Workshop Montreal's Glasgow Translation Residency in Tadoussac. Aluna Theatre is Beatriz Pizano and Trevor Schwellnus, with Sue Balint and Gia Nahmens.
Radio Aluna Theatre is produced by Camila Diaz-Varela and Monica Garrido. For more about Aluna Theatre, visit us at alunatheatre.ca, follow @Aluna Theatre on Twitter or Instagram, or like us on Facebook.